Ah yes, where does Jessica Pratt fall on the contemporary folk music spectrum? There's a diverse range of comparisons that could be made, but for reference you could say between the hallucinogenic wonder of Grizzly Bear and the stop and stare in the moment timidness of Devendra Banhart. With music as slow and begging for your undivided attention, it's easy to lose it, and I wouldn't be surprised if you did, but from the moment those first piano chords ring, I'm left with the impression that I'm going to be in suspense for a lot of this album, and whoop-de-dee, I am. If there is any directly polarizing feature of this album, it's actually the one that I find the most captivating of all, Jessica Pratt's singing voice. You could make the distinction that her neurotic soprano delivery straddles the line between Joanna Newsom and Teletubby. Pratt's voice turns out to be perfect for the air of mystery that the album conjures. It's never intense, but it's entirely soothing. Quiet Signs is an album that takes its time, but it doesn't flail about when it comes to writing subtle melodic movements into those songs that'll gently reel you further and further into its musky, autumnal, photograph-still world. Moments like these are affirming. You could be hearing the faint but ticklish twinkles on Silent Song, aerated by the strings which are even fainter, like the sounds of ocean waves sizzling near the coast at night, or you could be in the middle of a loungier affair come the track Polly Blue, where every little subtle piece works to create something so unintense but nevertheless powerful in its sense of relief. Its attempts at rolling over the same train of thought and the lyrics feel optimistic and reflective as a result, inviting you to join in on the reflection too. So it's not a record inviting sympathy more than it is inviting simply your presence as a listener, and that's actually very refreshing. Every piece of the puzzle on this album is so finely composed and consistent in atmosphere and sound, almost to a fault. Alright, so that might be a little bit harsh out of the blue, almost as if to offer you a Michelin star and last second swap it for a box of colouring pencils, but the album offers so much of the same to the point where it's undoubtedly lovely, but it loses its luster over the course of a full listen. I totally understand if you find individual tracks charming, but don't feel their impact when listening to the track listing front to back, which leaves the album feeling a little bit too open-ended, like an unclosed bread bag. I think this is why the album feels like it could have touched upon 7 out of 10 territory for me, but ends up as a 6 instead. However, I'm glad that the album ends on some closure with Aeroplane, a track with a 4-5-1 chord progression perfect to let you know that we're starting to touch down safely. I mean, no flight is ever fully a flawless experience anyhow. I suppose it's when the unease settles that things may just start to feel a little bit more alright.